Welcome, everyone, to the 5th episode of BoKcast, a music podcast.
Hey, hi there.
We're not very good at actually still being hosts yet, still not really got any professionalisms down, but at least we introed it this time.
Yep.
So, since, this is going to be a bit of a weird one.
Yeah, you're mostly, you've got singles, right?
Yeah, there's a lot of new stuff that just came on the scene basically a week or
2
less
weeks
than a
ago,
week
yeah,
before we recorded. So there's a lot of little things to talk about that are setting up for very, very, very good albums.
Hopefully,
I can see it coming.
Yeah.
But let's get some of the less significant releases out of the way. The one that I sort of...
The smaller releases.
Yeah.
Okay.
The one thing that I listened to this month that I thought was it was just a little bit of harmless fun was Oliver Tree, Do You Feel Me?
Okay.
It's a little EP collection of songs from stuff that he'd released previously and some new stuff. He's a meme. He's a living meme.
All right.
He goes about in raver pants and he's got a bowl cut and he wears wraparound sunglasses and stuff.
Like a Filthy Frank type thing.
Pretty much. He's like Filthy Frank if Filthy Frank wasn't edgy.
Right.
Because Oliver Tree just seems like a goofball. That's the character. And he rides around on scooters and stuff like that. And he's 90s culture, etc. But basically, some of the songs that have already been released, like Miracle Man and Heart and Alien Boy or whatever it is, they're all great. We knew that they were good.
So wait, are they meme songs? Are they spoof songs?
No, the songs are actually completely perfect, pop bangers.
Right.
They're very straight down the line. There's no goofiness in the songs themselves.
So it's not like a exercise in trolling the Eddie Condrey blarf.
No, it's not blarf. Thankfully, it's not blarf, because the thing is, I actually really admire the fact that this guy can write a banger and produce a banger like that, he can for things like Heart and Miracle Man, and it's you're actually really good at this. I just wish it wasn't dressed up in 18 layers of irony.
All right, okay.
Because it's the songs themselves aren't hurt by it, but you can tell the persona, which apparently he's going to retire. He's never released a full album. This is the longest EP he's ever released.
I've never heard of him. So what is it, pop or hip hop?
Yeah, it's slightly hip hop inspired pop,
right.
Synthy pop bangers. Basically, I can't really say beyond that, what genre it really falls into, because it's basically an amalgam of everything that people like these days.
And he's an internet...
Yes, he's one of these things that could only exist because of meme culture.
Right.
Which, yeah, it could be intolerable and cringy if he was just up on the stage dabbing and making references to memes in the songs. But he isn't. He's actually making sincere music.
Okay.
And he just so happens to be a goofball meme lord who might actually be done now, so it doesn't matter. But either way, the EP, I think it's 7 tracks long or something, and it does not stick around. It's very quick, painless, and fun. And the title track, Do You Feel Me? It's just it is a pop house.
All right, okay.
It's very party rock anthem, yo.
Right.
But it's excellent. I really enjoyed this EP. It's just a lot of fun to listen to.
Okay, all right. Okay, I think I jumped into a few other albums. We got a few bigger ones at the end, but I think there was some decent albums outside of that. I really liked the new Purple Mountains self-titled release. Purple Mountains are I guess the project of David Berman of Silver Jews fame. Did you ever listen to Silver Jews?
No.
They're sort of Americana. If you like Falla John Misty, you'd very much like Silver Jews.
Okay.
Sort of 1990s, sort of quite sardonic, very witty lyricism and sort of Americana sort of rock inspired instrumentation, and that's sort of very much continued in this Purple Mountains record. It's the first one that he's released since dissolving Silver Dews, probably about 10 years ago. He sort of disappeared for about 10 years.
Right.
And then he's come back. And this album is very funny. It's all about sort of daily grind and minutiae, and there seems to be undercurrents of, maybe he's gone through a divorce or sort of getting a bit too drunk, a little bit bruised maybe. But it's always very funny. And it's very sardonic, very sarcastic, very brittle, and it's really very funny. What the last line on the album, to give you an idea of the lyricism, and I typically don't gravitate towards lyrics, but I've always liked Silver Dews, and I sort of, as much as my musical taste are sort of more rhythmically based, I do have a soft spot for sort of what I guess you'd call it alt country or Americana sort of type stuff. Anyway, the last lyric on the album is, "If no one's fond of fucking me, maybe no one's fucking fond of me." So it's just this sort of, it's got this great sort of funny punchiness to it. What makes it, so this came out probably the middle of July, I guess. First thing he'd released in 10 years, or over maybe. And the last couple of weeks he's dead.
Really?
Yeah, so it's very, it's listening to it before he died. There's sort of funny, very dark lyricism going on there, and then listening to it after he's died, so close to it being released, it is a little bit more. I don't know. It doesn't sit as easy, I guess, just maybe because it's just so sudden.
Yeah.
I think literally probably about a week and a half ago, I think he died.
Jeez.
So it's a sort of bittersweet album in that it's the last thing he'll ever produce, but it's a good one.
So it's been a weird, like I said before, it's been a weird period for music right now because there's so many things getting released that are basically your aperitif for an album that's going to be coming soon, for a course that's going to be coming much, much later on.
With these food times,
yeah, it's happening. It's going to keep happening. It also doesn't help that I'm painfully hungry right now. It's infiltrating my mind.
You should get that steamed ham screensaver off you.
It makes me
making you hungry
for steamed hams.
Yes.
By the way, do you want a can of Iron Brew?
Yes, please. Yes. We are sponsored by Iron Brew. Go to ironbrew.com.
It's room temperature, so you know it's good. It's going to be even more flavourful.
Oh. Come on, Iron Brew.
Tunnocks, Iron Brew, all you good Scottish companies, get in behind this because the train's going to keep on rolling.
Well, I've got kids to feed. I need the Iron Brew.
You need to feed them that ginger goodness.
Just in case mother's listening, I don't feed the Wayne Iron Brew. That would be disgusting. But yes, do sponsor us, Iron Brew. Let's.
Speaking of ginger.
Oh yeah! Look at this link.
There's a Brockhampton album coming out called Ginger, and the 3 tracks that have been released so far from it have thoroughly whetted my appetite.
Oh yes,
I think it sounds fucking brilliant. So you've got Boy Bye, I've Been Born Again, and If You Pray Right, and all 3 of them are fucking killer bangers.
Fire.
They're so good. They're insane. And this is coming from me, who is like absolutely by no means a fucking ravenous Brockhampton fan.
Yeah.
I listened to Saturation 1, 2 and 3. I liked a lot of them, but I'm not like a zealot. It seems like you're either a Brockhampton zealot or you just like them a bit.
I was very much a zealot with Saturations 1, 2, 3. It was like, this is the fucking best hip hop I've heard. Whatever that year was, that was like up there. And then the one immediately afterwards, the album
Iridescence
which was, I think, more popular. I think it actually went to like number 1. I wasn't as keen on.
Yeah, it didn't really feel like it stood out in that same way that Saturation did. But Ginger sounds like it's going to be killer.
Yeah, hopefully.
So yeah, that's just part 1 of the ongoing like sort of flurry of amazing singles that have been coming out in the past couple of weeks that are like this is all I'm thinking about right now. I'm thinking about Ginger on the horizon.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about Clipping's new record that existed in Obsession with Blood or something like that.
That's so good.
That track is amazing. Like, I cannot believe how good that was.
Very John Carpenter synthy noise.
It's so moody. It's great. And like, see that bit where the synth really kicks in?
Aye.
That drop is like nothing I've heard in a long time. Like, you know how a couple of years back everyone was obsessed with the drop?
Yeah.
This is what it feels like. It's like everyone took a couple of years off from being obsessed with the drop, and Clipping just went like that. Here you go. Here's the best drop you've heard of in a decade.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
So good. Sort of, Clipping's another one of those where, you know, where it's less noisy.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if it's more like in line with the concept album that they did. What was that one called?
Splendor and Misery.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's sort of more, less sci-fi-ish and more maybe horror.
Yeah, it sounds like they're going down that route.
Horrorcore maybe is an influence there.
I'd be so happy with that. Imagine like a Carpenter-inspired concept album with that sound. That would be amazing.
That'd be really good.
The single's called Nothing's Safe, by the way, and go and listen to it. It's a fucking banger.
Yeah, it's a banger.
But yeah, so
there's a single by, just off the top of my head, there's a new single by, I think his name's Floating Points.
Okay.
I think he's British. It's sort of house music, but it sounds like 90s, sort of like Square Pusher almost. I have no idea what the name of the song is, so you can cut this bit out. But
I'll find it and I'll put it in the description.
Yeah, so it's cool. It's sort of, you know, like a little bit of Square Pusher, but it's still sort of quite dancey. It's sort of like not the singles, but the album tracks on like Homework, like Daft Punk's first album. It's sort of scratchier and it's pretty cool. I like it.
God, remember when Daft Punk were good?
Yeah. Oh God.
Jeez,
you're gonna lose more subscribers now.
Random Access Memories wasn't good, guys.
Nah, wasn't keen.
It was like a quarter of an amazing album.
Yeah.
What a waste. What a fucking waste. Anyway, so
yeah.
There's also fuck it, we're on the singles train.
Yeah.
I might as well talk about the other ones. Battles released a new single, Titanium Two Step or something it's called. It's great again because Battles are great, but they're a man down again. They've lost another guy from the band, so like
only down to like two guys
members now. Yeah, it's just two members now. Thankfully, the guy for Helmet, the drummer's still there. He's like the fucking main event in that band.
What's happening to that band? Are they just living on a spaceship and an alien's killing them or something?
I have no clue why they keep losing people, but I imagine it might just be creative differences because...
Well, they're called Battles. Coldplay haven't ever broke up. What is a Coldplay?
Well, I mean, you feel pretty cold when you've listened to a lot of their stuff.
Yeah.
When you're playing their stuff. It's the thing about Coldplay, and we kind of went into this a little bit last time, I still love Parachutes. It's a great album. You can't take that away from them, no matter how many mediocre fucking stadium pop, dreamy synth-led shit they can release afterwards. Parachutes is still great.
Now, you'll be able to tell the listeners because I need the approval of strangers. But you can tell your subscribers how much I hated Coldplay before the rest of society. So I was right. At least 6 years before the rest of you caught up with hating Coldplay. I did it first, guys. I'm real cool.
You hated Coldplay and Snow Patrol before it was cool to hate both of them.
I hated them out the gate.
Yeah. Okay,
anyway,
so what albums have you been listening to?
Okay, so two sort of jazz albums. I'll just go over briefly. First one is a new one from Abdullah Ibrahim called The Balance. He is a legendary South African pianist. He's been going he's 80 now. This is his first album in a couple of years. It is very classy, just a nice solid jazz album. Very piano led, very flute led. It's not reinventing the wheel, but it's a good solid jazz album. If you like your sort of traditional jazz, this will probably be in your list of albums of the year. The other one that I liked, I think I prefer this one. It's not as polished as the Ibrahim album, but it's a band from London. I think they don't like being called a band. I think they like being called a collective. They are called Nerija, Nerija.
Okay.
The album's called Bloom, and this one is more influenced. It's less classical jazz and more influenced by Afrobeat and reggae and the sort of funk influences. It's very danceable. It's robust and it's versatile. There's lots of interesting combinations of playing going on, and the horns on this, like you have with The Comet Is Coming or Sons of Kemet, just blast. Just absolutely killer horn section on this. So if you like your jazz records, these are two decent ones two very good ones that have been released in the last month. So yeah, they would be my top two. Have you got an album or anything?
I'm gonna talk about Tool.
Okay, cool.
There was another single released finally after 13 years of Tool-less existence. We finally got a new piece of Tool music after way too long. Fear Inoculum came out, and the album is coming soon, also called Fear Inoculum. It's an incredibly good song. I know some people are weirdly down on it, but I think it's exactly what I wanted from Tool after all these years of them being away. Like, it's perfectly Tool.
See, I don't know Tool.
Yeah.
Which is odd for my taste of music.
I mean, it's a good thing, maybe, because I'm going to go through the Tool albums a little bit here.
Okay.
Because they also did something that no one ever expected them to do. They finally put their fucking discography onto streaming services.
There you go.
So all I've been listening to for the past couple of weeks has been Tool this and Tool that. So it's dominated a lot of my music listening time and a lot of my thoughts when I'm thinking about, like, man, it's going to be great to have a new Tool album. And Fear Inoculum I thought was excellent.
See, I don't know why I didn't ever go for Tool.
Yeah, it seems perfectly tuned to you.
It's right up my alley, but it's just one of those things that maybe I didn't find at the right time, and now it's so far down the line where I would have to go and listen to all of it. Whereas if I'd first listened to them like you at 15 or something, I would be more... I would be more, oh, well, of course they're a great band. I know they're a great band.
Yeah.
But genuinely, I don't know. Maybe I just like my metal a little more scruffier, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what's held me back from them a little.
It is part of maybe what I think, like, Tool always made it difficult for people to really, really care about them unless they were already a zealot, because their music is so clinical.
Right.
In certain regards, it's like early Tool, especially Undertow, which is my least favourite Tool album, but again, that's not saying much. It's still a great fucking album. Early Tool, especially Undertow, is more scuzzy and more grimy and, like, more concerned with just, like, bodily fluids.
Oh, yeah.
It's definitely dirty metal, but, like, you can tell everything's very considered right out the gate.
Okay.
Like, it's so much like a fucking working man's band kind of, it's people who are very, very, very good at playing instruments coming together to make incredibly well constructed music. And I think that can put people off purely because of how contrived it feels. Like, it's maybe. Not like we were talking about with Black Midi, where it's like, this isn't effortless. With Tool, there's something about it where it's like their contrivances are effortless. It's all affect, but somehow it doesn't feel like they're going out of their way to do it. They're just pretentious by nature. You can listen to Fear Inoculum right now. It's 10 minutes long. So again, that'll put a lot of people off because it's a bit bloated. I don't know. They fill the time perfectly.
All their albums are about a week long, aren't they?
Yeah. Like, basically, when I was looking back through them, because again, I hadn't listened to them in a good couple of years when they got on Spotify, I was looking through them. The shortest album, I think, is Undertow at 1 hour and 7 minutes. And the rest of them are like 1 hour and 15 and up. And from the sounds of it, Fear Inoculum's going to be even longer.
So they're effectively, with all their long running times, Tool are just Slipknot that went to art school.
It's Slipknot, but they know what they're trying to be. Because the biggest problem with that new Slipknot record, and all new Slipknot stuff, it feels, is that Corey Taylor wants to just be doing Stone Sour all the time. But he knows he makes all his money from being in Slipknot. So he's like, I've got to make a Slipknot record. Whoops, I accidentally got my Stone Sour in your Slipknot.
There you go.
And it just comes across a little bit conflicted. Whereas Tool, as fucking beefy and a bit kind of cumbersome as some of their music might be for people, at least they know what they are. And everything is consistent. Fear Inoculum, I was worried that they were going to miss a beat after being gone for 13 fucking years. Nope, not missed a fucking beat.
You could run the risk of it being a Chinese democracy type thing.
Yeah, exactly. I was so fucking scared it was going to be that.
Did you ever hear that Chinese democracy album?
I did, and it's
fucking hell,
fucking foul. Oh,
what is it's so insane though? Just in terms of the choices on that album, it needs to be listened to just to go like, who thought that was a good idea? What's the one? Madagascar is a sort of almost rap.
Yeah, there's like new metal influences all over it because he was writing it around the time that new metal came and went.
It's so weird. It's the closest any actual artists ever got to Angelic to the Core.
Yeah. Yeah, just like where it feels like a fucking hodgepodge of every
idea
been
that the
over
guy 10 years
and it's too
just
long.
like, here's what was popular that week.
I'll give him this. Fucking hell, is it ambitious? It's ambitious in all the wrong ways.
Are you talking about Axel or Cody?
I mean,
here?
both of them.
Yeah.
It's interchangeable. They're both absolute lunatics. And they both really put the beef on.
Yeah.
Fuck it. Axl Rose is an ugly human being. Inside and out.
But that's the lesson we've learned today. It's okay to be ugly, but just not on the inside.
Yeah, try your best to not be a dickhead, and for all intents and purposes, it seems like Axl Rose is a complete fucking dickhead.
Yeah.
So
that's a hot take there. So, sorry.
Also for everyone out there, here's another fucking piping hot take for you. Guns N' Roses have always been shite. So
fair enough.
There you go. Take that. Stick that in your pipe and smoke it, Milli Vanilli.
I think, yeah, definitely overrated. First album's alright if you're looking for a bit of unpretentious, just sort of stupid rock. If you're into stupid, there's nothing. Here's the thing: there's nothing wrong with stupid rock and roll.
No.
Enjoy that first Guns N' Roses album, even November Rain. Just enjoy it for it being stupid as sin.
November,
but they're not a great band. Though.
November Lame, more like.
I don't know where that cunt jumps for the cake. That's fucking in the video.
My favourite bit is where they get married and Slash goes like, I've had enough of this, man. And he walks out of the church and he goes and does a guitar solo.
That's the fucking best bit.
It's like, you may now kiss the bride, and Slash is like, I think, fuck man, I have to go and do a guitar solo.
How does the lassie die in that video? She's just dead.
Yeah, she just dies.
She just loves Axel so much that she dies or something. I can't remember now.
How the fuck does she die?
Comment below, how does a woman in the November Rain video die?
Just so he can do a sad piano over her. It's God. Anyway, enough fucking talking. Enough Tool talk, Tim Allen. Let's move on. Because Tool are great. Fucking newsflash, guys. Tool are great. And
I'll go listen to them.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. The metal album of the last month I really loved was not the Slipknot album. It was the new one from Canadian death metal band. And before you go, you're always talking about... I've spoke about black metal on these programs. I've not spoke about death metal.
That's true.
It's called Planetary Clairvoyance.
Okay.
And it's by a band called To Mold. Just nasty death metal. Very brutal, but also strange, and sort of it's got like a sci-fi atmospheric quality to it, and it's very eerie and spooky. So it sort of has that nice combination of absolutely ferocious death metal grind and then sort of interesting uses of silence or sort of eeriness or sort of that. So yeah, I would highly recommend it. In terms of the death metal I've listened to this year, this is probably the best thing.
Okay.
It's sort of weird and interesting enough, and the playing's great. So yeah, To Mold, it's a banger. It's creepy, sci-fi influenced death metal, and if that's what you like, go have a listen to it.
Oh God. Okay. We Are Not Your Kind is half of a good album.
Yeah, very mixed bag.
And the other half is some of the most boring, nothing metal and filler instrumental tracks I can fucking fathom, slapped together into an album that is over an hour long for no reason.
I had a funny relationship with this album because I only listened to the first half initially. And then I was like, oh, this is fucking banging. This is like the best thing they've done in years. And then I said to you, I think this is really good. You had listened to the full album and you went, really? You could? I was like, I think definitely the first half of the album is front loaded with the songs.
Yeah.
This album very much continues in the vein that Slipknot have done since Volume 3, where they'll release an absolute killer of a single. And then the album's a bit ho-hum. Yeah. You've got Volume 3 following Duality. You have All Hope Is Boring following Psychosocial. And then I can't even remember the good single from...
The Devil and I, the negative one.
They were great.
Yeah.
And then the album that followed was probably my least favourite.
Yeah, it's definitely the worst one. At least All Hope Is Boring has some like big sing-along things like Sulphur and all that. Like, it had some moments, but like I cannot name you, other than those two singles, I cannot name you a track off of Chapter 5, The Grey Chapter.
No, me neither. Do you remember when All Hope Is Gone came out? There was such a hype around it that people were genuinely suggesting that it might be this generation's Master of Puppets.
Yeah.
And you're like, get to fuck.
It's like, it's Slipknot.
It's Slipknot.
They're never ever going to top their debut.
Debu's great.
Iowa's great, but I love the debut. I
think I like Iowa.
Really?
Best. I think I do.
I can see why. It's definitely heavier metal instead of new metal. It's like really heavy metal.
Yeah.
You can see the influences of the new metal generation sort of wearing off in Iowa,
sort
which
of
is
waning
nice.
A little bit.
Which is good because new metal is a bit cringy, but I still love that first album.
First album's great. This album is sort of the great single is the last song on the album. So you sort of the first half of the album is really quite good. It's got stuff like what was it? Unsainted is quite good.
Yeah, Unsainted is great. Nero Forte.
Yeah, that's really good. So when I listened to the first half of the album initially, I was like, oh, this is banging. This is really good. Second half of the album is more of a slog.
It falls off a fucking cliff.
And then it finishes with All Way Up, which is the best song of the album,
it's
which
the best
almost
song,
saves it.
It's the best song they've released since Volume 3.
Yeah, I'd
go
with you on that.
Colossal. It's great.
I even like the weird sort of they've brought the sort of scratchiness of the first album, the sort of electronica things that Sid guy did, the more DJ scratching, which, in 2019 you'd be like, is this going to find a place on the record? And they somehow make it work here. So it's a real mixed bag of an album. It's pretty good, a lot of it. I might even say it's the best one since Volume 3, but then you look at the other two.
It's not much to compete with, really. It was a big disappointment because, yet again, I let myself fall into that trap. I heard Unsainted, I heard All Out Life isn't on the record, but it's such a good song. All Out Life is a great single. It's actually the it's actually the theme song for NXT now, which is a wrestling show. But regardless, Solway Firth came out and I was like, this is going to be a great album. It has to be. They can't do it to me again. They just can't. And then they did. It doesn't change the fact that Solway Firth is a monster. And Unsainted is a lot of fun. Nero Forte is good. Critical Darlings is good. Spiders I liked.
It's okay.
There's some tracks on it that I'm just like
there's some sort of Stone Sour songs on this that just sort of alright, whatever. I get why I didn't even mind the weird Depeche Mode sort of bits in the album that much, but some of it is just so
I can tell fully
humdrum.
What's happening in the band as well though, because like they lost that they fired.
He died.
Yeah, and then Joey Jordison went off the rails and then got fired. Clearly in a coup, like basically it was just like, we're getting rid of you and there's nothing you can do about it kind of thing. And then they got rid of that other guy, the Chris Fenn, the long nose. They got rid of Chris Fenn again because he tried to sue the band. There's lots of turmoil in the band now because they're all a bunch of businessmen shitheads and they make Slipknot music to make money. They're not in it because they love Slipknot. They're not in it because they love making that type of music. Clearly Corey Taylor wants to make other kind of music. He wants to make Stone Sour music. I don't care for that type of music. I think it's really boring. And
never liked him.
Stone Sour is just a fart. Just
give
nothing.
us some high camp.
Lean into the Slipknot thing.
Get a little bit tongue in cheek. I mean, the way the things are, they're the only one of that group that are still, or the only one of their peers that are still going at that level.
Yeah.
In terms of new metal.
Because Korn
have fell off the earth.
Yeah, Korn release albums and
their mailing list listen to.
Yeah, basically it's like their hardcore fans love them. I tried to listen to their last one, which was apparently, according to actual critics, the best one that they'd released in a while. And it did absolutely nothing for me. The two singles that they've released from this new one that's coming out, it's fine. Like I like them a decent amount, but I'm not gonna sit there going like, oh man, Korn are coming back, man. Korn are back and bigger than ever. No, Korn are done.
So it is a shame because it is a shame. Slipknot, good fun.
Yeah,
the first two albums are great fun, and there's some good songs on this.
Yeah,
that are when you get a Slipknot song, it's very much a Slipknot song. There's nothing wrong with a little bit of experimentation. But the ones that you like are always going to have that bonga dinga 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 ding that every fucking Slipknot song has. And if you're good at it,
fuck
do it. Best one since Volume 3, but
something that's not fine.
Oh Christ, is this?
Yeah, we might as well.
This is a fucking shitter of a record. This next one.
I don't think I don't think it's going to blow anyone's mind. I don't think this is a hot take because I think it's pretty much universally accepted at this point that Chance the Rapper's The Big Day is a massive fucking dud.
Oh my god.
And then
Chance the Crapper, more like. Fucking hell.
What the fuck, man? Like, again, Chance is a disappointment to me because I liked 10 Day, liked acid rap. Then Colouring Book came out, and it was fucking lame and bad. And then this came out, and it's officially his first actual album, technically, because the others were mixtapes. And it's fucking bad. This is so bad. Boring. It's so self-indulgent and mimsy at the same time, where it's like, at least if you're going to be self-indulgent, Tarantino it. Make a 3-hour-long movie about feet and about Hollywood and about horrible, horrendous violence. At least if you're going to make a fucking, 77-minute long album
about a wedding. Fucking hell.
At least try and stack it with some fucking attitude and like with a bit of creativeness that was clearly like he must have burnt through every original idea he had making acid rap, because everything he's released since has been trash. So clearly he's got no ideas left. And the big day is like, imagine someone with no ideas who loves his wife making a 77-minute long album with nothing to say.
It's insufferable. It's cornier. It's possibly the corniest bit of rap I've heard in a long time.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, God. It's so self-indulgent, and it's... It was a real struggle getting through this. I felt I need to listen to the whole fucking thing to even talk about it. And to be honest, 5 tracks in, I turned it off. And then I had to go back to actually, is this as bad as it is? Yeah. It's an interesting album because it is so bad, but you could stop listening to it after track 1 or track 22 and you would feel the exact same. Yeah. It's so boring. I don't even hate it in many ways. I just, I hate how bored it made me, but I don't remember the fucking album.
Yeah. The only song I remember off of it was Hot Shower.
Did you remember the album? No.
Nope.
I remember the feeling it inspired in me.
That's a great way to describe it. It leaves absolutely no lasting impression on you artistically in any way. You don't remember anything that he said or did, except for if you went out of your way to note down lyrics like I did for Hot Shower.
Oh dear, did you?
I didn't write them here because I was absolutely determined to never think about this album ever again once we've done this.
Okay.
I don't want to burn it into my mind. I just described Hot Shower as an anti-banger. It's like, basically imagine if someone tried to make a trap banger and then all the character and attitude and fun was sucked clean out of it, like in a fucking vacuum explosion, like someone shot a fucking plane window out. Yeah. All the fun and attitude just got zipped right out of it and you made an anti-banger. I also described this, the process of listening to this album, as Schadenfreude to the max, because I was enjoying a little bit in the back of my head how fucking bad it was. I was kind of happy about this is it. This is the full confirmation that I needed that Chance is done. I don't have to care about Chance the Rapper anymore. And he has shat the bed in such a colossal fashion that it was kind of fun.
That, if you shit the bed and it was 45 minutes, it'd be fine. If you shit the bed for 77 minutes.
See, no, okay, here's a perfect analogy for it. If you shit the bed, but it's like a really, really concentrated, hard turdlet.
You can just like get your hand round the turd and get rid of it. Yeah. You'd be fine.
Whereas if you do a big 77-minute diarrhea all over the fucking thing, if you shit everything, if you shit the entirety of the bed, how do you live that down? How do you get rid of that?
It's not even interesting bad. like Chinese democracy's interesting bad.
Yeah.
Or
Angelic Liquor,
which I mention in every day that we do this. It's just sort of. Do you remember? Did you have that? See, when we were at secondary. Were you in that chemistry teacher's class where the chemistry teacher gave out the students a rap album?
No.
It wasn't my class, but somebody must have a copy of this somewhere. Mid-2000s, this chemistry teacher gave out a rap album about chemistry as a teaching aid, I can only imagine.
Right.
You know, it was like burnt on a CDR, and I don't know. I don't really know many people from my school anymore. But if you are listening and you happen to have that record, I can guarantee it's better than this Chance the Rapper record.
Yeah.
Some more character will be in that, rapping about bromine or whatever.
You have to be really fucking passionate about fucking chemistry to make a rap album about it. Chance the Rapper loves his fucking wife.
I love chemistry. I'll release an album with it. Fine, mate. That's fine. I love my wife. What, like everybody does?
Yeah, it's
right,
like you're not blowing anyone's mind here. You had a wedding and it was great, and you love your wife.
You ever sat through a wedding? How fucking boring are they?
Oh, they're really boring.
Even, I can tell you, even people that have to organise their own wedding, they hate sitting through the wedding. So imagine sitting through a wedding, the album, that's it, it's fucking boring.
Yep.
And you don't even get any funny best man speeches or drunk during it.
Yeah, you don't get any of the benefits of like free food and drink. You have to buy your own while you're listening to this fucking stinker.
This album, if it came with a free dinner, I would be okay. Alright, the album was shit, but I got some free food. Alright. But it doesn't. It's an album that doesn't come with a free dinner.
There you go, Chance. Buy us all dinner and you've got yourself a 5 out of 10.
See if whatever his next album is going to have, he's got to have at least some sort of giveaway with it.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
Sorry, guys. I made the biggest pig stinker of the year, and it is. I'm officially creating the pig stinker of the month award, and I am bequeathing it to Chance the Rapper. Have you seen those? Have you seen those guys on YouTube that put bike pumps up their assholes and they pump air into themselves and then fart it out?
No.
It's a thing.
Would that go on, if that went on for 77 minutes, would that be better?
Yes, because at least I'd be laughing. Because guess what? Farts are funny, I'm sorry.
Farts are funny.
But
if he releases an album about farts, it'd be fantastic.
Concept
at least
album.
I'd be alright. Well, this is interesting. You'd rather have 77 minutes of multiple farts instead of a 77-minute long fart.
Yes.
Which this album is. It's a 77-minute long fart.
I want some variety in my farts. Spice it up, Chance.
Terrible.
So, before we tackle the big one,
yes.
the album of the month, I believe you have...
I have a little compilation. I would say technically this is my favourite album of the month, but it's not new music. So that's why it's not officially that. I'm gonna have to probably send you a photo of this because you'll never find it. It's a compilation. It's called Jambu e os Míticos Sons de Amazonia. Okay. And it's a compilation of northern Brazilian music, sort of carimbo music. So it's a sort of interesting mix of traditional and modern music. Modern at the time, 70s, 80s.
Yeah.
So it's got sort of bits of jazz in it and mambo and salsa and all sorts of interesting combinations. I think in northern Brazil, that's where it's sort of got the Portuguese heritage and it's got the sort of indigenous tribal sort of stuff as well as a large Afro-Brazilian population. So it's got these sort of interesting sort of melting pot to it, and it's just the most exciting bit of music I've heard this month. It's just great songs.
Yeah.
It's just real party bangers with enough variation and stylistic differences. Some of the album is incredibly lo-fi and recorded poorly. You know, because it's just like this guy going out to small towns in the Amazon and recording people making live music.
Yeah.
And some of it is recorded like in nightclubs and sort of cafes and that. But the sort of the pulse and the thrill of the music comes through. So it's really, if you like sort of Latin jazzy, if you like stuff like world music like this, I think it's probably right up your street. I highly recommend it. It's probably about 19 tracks. I think some of the guys that have been recorded on this, they were just people that lived out there.
Yeah.
In the Amazon. I don't think they've ever been on record before, and it's just nice that somebody's had the time to go do some serious crate digging and just like put together this great little record. So that would so this will lead into what will be both me and yours best album of the month in terms of new music. This album, the compilation, is the most enjoyable bit of music I've heard this month. Yeah. This next album that we'll talk about is enjoyable's not the right word for it.
Yeah, it's you endure it.
It's possibly the most abrasive thing I've heard this year.
Absolutely, yeah.
And I suppose we should name it, right?
Yeah, so the album of the month is Lingua Ignota's Caligula.
Yeah.
And what an experience it is.
It's quite something. If you listen to that Slipknot record, Slipknot very much trade in anger. But the anger that they present on their album and all their albums pales totally in comparison to what is on this record. This is demented anger almost.
Yeah.
I suppose we should maybe describe what it actually sounds like. It's a difficult one to categorise.
Yeah.
I think effectively it's sort of neoclassical, but with like a sort of noise core, almost black metal screaming vocals on the top of it. It's definitely the most metal thing I've heard this year that isn't a metal record.
Yeah.
It's going to turn a lot of people off. But it's meant to do that, I guess. I think it's designed that way.
Absolutely, yeah. It's like one of the most pure expressions of
hate and
raw fucking creative fury that I can think of.
It's unhinged and it's quite frightening, actually.
It is. It's especially like I watched a clip of her doing like some of it live.
Yeah.
It was very bootleg footage. I think it was like quite murky in that, but like it suits her perfectly. It's basically just her playing like a bowed flying V.
Yeah.
Like just creating this god awful wailing noise, and you can just hear the sort of samples that she uses like building up, and like I can only imagine that it would be an absolutely insanely intimidating experience seeing her live because she is
ferocious.
She is very, very, very angry, and rightly so.
Yeah.
She's a survivor of domestic abuse. A lot of her stuff is entirely based around that idea of like the desire for revenge.
Yeah, it's sort of a concept album about, I guess, it trades in a lot of a sort of religious symbolism, and from what I understood, effectively the album is a sort of concept where she has sold her soul to the devil in order to exact revenge on perpetrators, or even just the whole world.
There's an element of like
hellish.
Where it's like it's directionless anger, just like for the sake of wanting to become the spirit of vengeance, just to try and actually like get that feeling out of you. It feels like she's screaming the feeling out of her, because my god, she gets really like, I've never heard vocals quite like it.
I listen to it late at night. Like, think I'll just listen to a new album and then I'll get some sleep. And I had to stay up and sort of think about it for a while afterwards, just because I've not heard anything like this.
And it's not an album you'll go back to time and time again. Like, you'll struggle to do it because it's not a fun experience by any stretch of the imagination. But it's like, we always talk about this idea of the hardest stuff to understand and parse in love becomes the most rewarding, and she takes that label and runs with it, and basically just like, you are going to struggle, you're going to fight. It's like clawing through a wall of fog trying to understand.
If you're more interested in music that's going to open up new avenues for you or get you thinking about stuff, and it's not just, there's nothing wrong with music that's going to make you dance or music that's enjoyable in terms of its presentation, but this is really putting you through the ringer in a way that some of the best albums do. It's not pleasant particularly, but it is invigorating. I think
it restores your faith in music a little bit. Like, even though you don't feel like your faith in music is shaken all that much. You get bad albums. Chance the Rapper made a stinker. It's not a big deal.
Yeah.
But then something like this comes along and you're like, oh, this is what people can make. Like, this is what music can be.
And this is a long album as well.
Oh yeah, but it never feels like she's just making noise for the sake of it.
It's inventive and it's interesting, the choices that she makes on the record, and it doesn't get samey.
No,
it's she has enough change in the vocals as well as the instrumentation that, because it's a concept, it sort of takes you on different routes. It's sort of like, well, here's a song about a particular feeling or a particular scenario, and then the next song will change it up, or you might even get the change within the song. It's sort of almost cinematic, really, in terms of it's going on a journey into what is a total nightmare.
Yeah,
it's hellish. I really appreciate this album.
Appreciate's the right word.
And it's a good album.
Yeah.
It's not what I'm going to put on all the time. But yeah, I love it. It's great.
It is spectacular, and like, it's very much deserving of the plaudits that it's getting. It's definitely the album of the month. Probably going to be up there for album of the year.
Could be,
just for the sheer like
ballsiness
accomplishment of it. It's so. Yeah, it's definitely got more balls than half the music we've listened to. Yeah, more than half.
It's been a funny month. There's been a lot of angry sort of records, but this is just the most. It's like screaming from somewhere that you've never even heard in music before. It's like beyond the sort of faux metal. Sort of screaming, which are sort of more theatrical. This feels like it's coming from genuinely hell or right from our gut. It's really weird.
It's especially like, doesn't it make everything else in the sort of metal genre, especially like sort of more emotionally charged metal, like emo-y kind of stuff. It makes it feel even more tawdry, where it's just like, you're screaming about being broken up with or something.
Yeah. Whereas she's screaming about horrific violence or wanting to inflict this horrific violence on the world at large, or
it takes
or men in particular. Yeah,
it takes catharsis to a new level instead of just bitching and moaning about like the world's hard.
Yeah,
it's like, the world is hard, and here's like a fucking 70 minute long album about like just how furious one person can be.
Yeah.
And we do need that outpouring just now, because we're really angry and tired. The world is real bad right now.
Yeah.
And this sort of album, even though it's about one thing, feels like it could be just the embodiment of
definitely
anger and hate and just this need to actually have someone pay for something. That it's like you just want to see something happen that might make you feel better because there's nothing else out there that's making us feel better right now. So maybe sometimes you just want to see people hurt because that's all you've got now.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's kind of fantastic and horrifying, and we'll probably still be thinking about this album months to come, years to come.
I think so.
Well done. So that's the music of the past couple of weeks. I hope you go out and check out some of them. Don't bother with Chance, you don't have to.
No,
I'll link it in the description, but for God's sake, don't bother. So now that we've got the current stuff out of the way, let's go on to the music book club part. Not got an intro or anything like that. This is just a segue. So
do you want to go first? Shall I go first?
I'll go first.
Okay.
I'll go first. You recommended me Model 500's Classics, which was released in June 1993, and it's a compilation of sorts. Is it a collection of stuff that they'd done before?
I think so, yeah. It's sort of singles or... singles that they'd released under this moniker for a number of years.
Cool. This, I made a more concerted effort this time because I sort of felt like I slacked a little bit with Boy in the Corner, because it felt like I drew my attention specifically to a handful of songs instead of giving a little bit of time to everything to try and give you a full picture of what the album's about. So I tried a little bit more to do some due diligence. I hit walls with dance music very easily. And you know that about me, and that's kind of one of the reasons.
That's sort of one of the differences between our tastes, I think.
Like, I love things like Prodigy, I love early Daft Punk. I like
Chemical Brothers.
Yeah, like
stuff.
Early Chemical Brothers, I don't really know what they're up to these days. I know they've got a new album out.
The album was fine.
Yeah, it's just whatever. I didn't like big beat stuff like Fatboy Slim or any of that sort of shit. I didn't really fall into that, but like he had some classics. Some good Fatboy Slim songs, and like dance music in particular.
You're not particularly taken by ambient music, or...
It depends. Again, you have to be in the mood for it. If you feel like... I use ambient music sometimes as like sleep aid. Where it's like, I like that sort of music just to fall asleep to. Ambient's nice, and just that sort of... You need to be specifically in the mood or in desperate need of ambient music to fall asleep to.
But this album is definitely, it's just... there's no way of it's just a dance album.
Yes, there's no
it's 8
flab.
dance tracks.
Yeah, there's no filler, all killer. It's I'm gonna do some verbatim reading from my notes here, because I actually did do this thing where I went through the album and listened to it as a whole. We try to set ourselves this goal of listening to each album that we get recommended at least 3 times.
At least 3 times, yeah.
So my method for this time around, and it seems to have borne some decent fruit, so I'll probably do it again. I listened to it all the way through once, paying reasonable attention to it.
Yeah.
Then went through it song by song, making notes.
Yeah.
And then I went through it again as a whole, but this time leaving it in the background, like letting it melt into the background a little bit, just to see if I can enjoy it. That's how I
do it as well. Yeah.
And this is actually a really good album. Like, I really appreciated a lot of it. But it starts on the back foot for me, which is weird because it's like, I think this is one of the songs that people would say is like one of the better songs on the album, the first track. Like, right out the gate, The Chase.
Oh yeah, okay, right.
No, it's not The Chase.
Was it Off to Battle?
No.
I can't even remember now. Was it No UFOs?
Yes, yeah, that's it. And it's I said it opens in a way that I was dreading. It's just a basic, very classic sounding dance track, no frills, no variation. My heart sank. I think I was being a little bit brutal there. It's definitely not boring. It's a good dance track.
Yeah.
But I was worried at that point because I was like, oh my God, is every track going to be this?
Yeah.
Because I knew that I would get worn out on that.
Yeah.
I would get worn out on it so hard. But then The Chase comes along, changes the tone of the album dramatically. Sure, the lack of variation is a running theme for classic dance music, but this song is instantly more engaging thanks to simple inclusion of things like a distant, funky sounding bass track, a decent acoustic sounding percussion track, and some quick arpeggiated synths to top things off.
Oh, yeah, okay.
So it immediately started to develop more, and you could tell there was like, they're going to go in different directions instead of just like a 4/4 dance.
Yeah, that's why I thought this might be if I was going to give you just a dance album with no overarching concept to it and not particularly one that you may have heard of, this would be the one to go with, I thought.
Yeah, because I feel like in the deep recesses of my mind I might have heard a Model 500 before.
You might have heard
You've probably spoken about them to me before, but I've never heard any other stuff. And like, immediately it was like you could tell that there was going to be more to this album than just bare bones dance music. Off the Battle is more classic sounding dance music, but it has a more evolving, smooth sound that I enjoyed. Night Drive gets video gamey. Night Drive has this weird Mega Drive sound to it, and I don't know if that's necessarily something that actually they were doing it because video game stuff, especially the Mega Drive, had been released around like 1990? 1990 in PAL territories, but are they an American band?
They are, they're American. It's just the one guy.
Okay.
I think somebody else might help him on some of the tracks, but
right.
So with this album, it's difficult. I'm not great at knowing when the singles were released.
Right.
It could be that this was released at any point from sort of the early 80s onwards. Mm-hmm. So it could be that it's around about the 90s maybe for video game music, maybe. Like, it could be even earlier. And it's because it's all based on these synthesizers or these specific drum machines. Yeah. It could just be that they sort of drink from the same well, maybe. I
was thinking that it's like there's a very good chance that the sound fonts are just the same. It's not inspired necessarily. It's just
it could be. They were very much into robots and futurism and.
I said that on Night Drive, I said the vocals are a bit silly, but that adds to the fun of this track. Definitely getting a big bang of Kraftwerk influence.
Yeah, it's very much. You're not into Kraftwerk whatsoever, are you? Not really.
I like some of the big singles and stuff like that, but for the most part, never really listened to a full album.
I'll give you a Kraftwerk album at some point. Not today. But.
Time, Space, Transmat, that was the vocals. It's just Time, Space, Transmat. It feels very much like a Kraftwerk song if you're just repeating the same thing over and over. Yep. Electric Entourage has a decent driving beat, but the little sampled chicka-cha,
yeah.
Vocals just annoyed me by a point because it doesn't blend with the music at all. It sits right on the top of the mix, and it's really fucking distracting. It just it just started to piss me off. But it's still like there's like a decent drive and dance beat under it, but it just sort of it felt a wee bit weird. Ocean to Ocean. A cool, almost glitchy sounding opening. Again, starts to do this like sort of bit crushed kind of video gamey sound. Again, probably not directly inspired by Mega Drive sound card sounds. Just so happened to sound similar. But it definitely started to spark in me that kind of thing of like, maybe the people who made like the music for Streets of Rage and stuff heard this.
Maybe.
And they were like, let's try and capture this perfectly. Like, there's a good chance it could have been one of the... It's a chicken and egg thing. I have absolutely no idea what came first. Techno music has this buzzing synth lead that carries it through. It's a fun track. As classic as some of the others, but slightly more flair to make me stay interested in it. Sound of Stereo closes the album. It has more vocals and more Kraftwerk vibes than ever before. Another solid song. I find it hard not to mentally phase out a little bit during long dance tracks, but there was a lot more going on in this album than just a typical fucking dance floor filler bullshit. Yeah. So, roundly, I thoroughly enjoyed the experience.
Oh, good. The one that I was given by yourself to listen to is Coheed and Cambria. Their debut, right?
Yeah.
Debut album, The Second Stage, Turbine Test.
Blade.
There you go. And I have my relationship to Coheed and Cambria is you liked them or were very much a fan of them in your teens, and I would hear them in the background and I didn't like it. I just didn't. As another 14-year-old, it wasn't my type of metal. Not even really metal, really, I guess. But it just no. There's something about it that tuned me off. So I've not really paid them much attention. So when you gave me this album, I'll be honest, the first listen through, I struggled. There was bits in it I liked, and then on repeat listen, there was some other. It's the things that I liked on the album sort of shone through on second and third listen. I also went through it track by track. So I'll a couple of the things that I really liked about the album. I like the emphasis on the stranger lyrics. It's I guess a lot of the songs could be boiled down to relationshipy things between two characters potentially or something like this. But I appreciated the weirder use of language on it. It's almost Zappa like, some of it, like on Everything Evil, just shouting refrigerator door. It's got a sort of strange sense of humour that runs through it that I quite appreciated. And some of the instrument and some of the sort of musicianship on it I thought was quite interesting. The intro is just an instrumental moody piano sort of line, very synthy, almost very sort of spooky. It's almost like a music that would be used in like an Adam Curtis documentary, something like that. And I really like that. I like, this is going to be a good album. And where I think the album fell down for me is, so broadly it's a concept album about this comic that the lead singer's written, right?
Yeah.
I couldn't really follow the plot. I understand that's probably the point.
Yeah.
But for such a high concept idea, it's sort of more fantastical, more science fiction based. I thought the musicianship could have been stranger for me.
Yeah.
I liked that intro with the moody piano because it gave it a little bit of spookiness, and that does turn up on some of the other albums. I like the end of Something Evil. There's a sort of creepy piano vibe that comes in, and Delirium Trigger's got some sort of weird balladry stuff going on. But a lot of the album, and maybe this being their first album, they weren't really locked down on how to get that through on record. But I could have had some of the playing be a little more strange, maybe. You know what I mean? Like, it's solid musicianship. It's solid. It's well made. It's not as proggy as I thought it was going to be.
They definitely go more prog. This is definitely more in the camp of the post-hardcore. I
think I could have used a little bit more pomp and a little bit more sort of guitar wankery or just like noodly boodly, sort of stuff. But yeah, the musicianship's pretty good. Time Consumer's the next song, and this is where you first get the sort of two styles of singing that will be particular in the record. It's sort of soft whispered singing and high registered, sort of quite nasal singing. And this is in all honesty, it's his voice that turned me off from them when I was younger. And it's still an issue for me. I just don't like his voice. I'm typically very good with tuning out the singing and just listening to the background, but his voice is sort of so distinctive and sort of high in the mix that it's sort of it did distract me. When you recommended this at the end of the last episode, you said that his singing gets more sort of simpering and even more stylized in later releases. So what I did was I listened to this the first time round, and then I listened to some of the big singles or the big songs off of 4. Is it? It's
Good
got
Apollo,
a lot. Yeah.
Good Apollo and Burning Star 4, Volume 1, Fear Through the Eyes of Madness.
Yeah, so there you go. And I could tell what you mean. Like the later stuff is both more sort of proggy and his voice is more irritating. Yeah. So once I'd listened to the sort of more simpering vocals, on the second listen I was not as
because you know how bad it gets.
Yeah.
Like, there's something it's something that I've always had a little bit of a problem with is like as their musicianship improved and as the stuff got even more grandiose, he got even more
verbose.
It's just some of it became too overblown and he was too theatrical with his vocals, and it wears on you really, really quickly. Whereas like if they found that perfect balance where he did more, there's screaming on this album.
There's some whispering on this that I quite liked,
and there's normal clean vocals, the high register stuff, but he's no went silly with it.
Yeah.
See if they kept that sound but got more grandiose with the guitars
that's what I think,
and stuff.
I think is missing from the record.
Yeah.
When I listened to those later singles and then went back to this on second listen, I appreciated it more this time round because you could feel that thing where if only the band could have, maybe they were younger or whatever, they could have pulled out more of the stops and be a bit more strange like they do on later records. Yeah. But if and his vocal range and everything, I didn't find it. Found more would probably have suited that music.
Yeah.
So when I went back to it and listened to it the second time, I've got a lot more out of it. Devil in Jersey Street is a sort of
Jersey
City has a sort of chug along noodly guitars that I think is missing sometimes on the album, but that's really interesting. It has screaming on it, which I liked. I like there's this sort of softness and then the nasalness and a little bit of screaming. So his lyrics or his vocal are quite varied. Other ones on the album, Hearshot Kid Disaster is probably the most metal thing on the album. It's very screeched, lots of screaming. I like that. Never Ender, I thought the bass was particularly very good on that. So there's lots of little things I then liked on the album a lot more. I thought the best song on the album was Delirium Trigger. Very ballady. I liked the sort of technical guitar stuff. When it comes in about 3 minutes into the track, I think. And there was enough sort of tempo, stylistic changes there that made it really interesting. And I think that's where I sort of got the album. I was like, oh, this is interesting. I still don't love it. I've listened to it maybe 3 or 4 times now, but I liked it. I'm pleasantly surprised that I enjoyed more of it than I.
I'm quite surprised myself. I was very ready for you to just be like, his vocals are too much of a hell.
I didn't hate it.
Yeah,
I did the first time. No, that's not fair. I didn't hate it.
Well, I think I'm actually waiting for the time that I can give you something that you're gonna hate. In fact, this might be it. The one I'm about to recommend to you.
What am I going to listen to this month?
The thing is as well, like you've had exposure to these guys before.
Okay.
In fact, you went to a gig for them with me. Static X.
Yeah.
But you've never actually listened to a Static X album, have you?
Maybe. Maybe.
I don't know. Static X have a weird story just now, and it's actually the only reason why I'm sort of going for it, because I hadn't thought about Static X in years.
Oh, what? Has one of them been caught doing something?
No, that already happened in the past before the guitarist that was with them for a little while, Trip Eystein or whatever the hell his name is. He used to be in the Murder Dolls and stuff. He got done having sex with or like soliciting stuff from underage fans and stuff. But that's in the past. What's happening currently is Wayne Static has been dead for years, right?
Was he dead?
Wayne Static is dead, yes.
Oh, yeah.
I believe it was a drug overdose. So he's dead. Static X died with him.
Okay.
But guess what? They're back. And
Alright.
they've got a guy called Zero, spelled with an X. No one knows who he is. He has Wayne Static spiked up hair. He's wearing a death mask of Wayne Static. And they're touring and releasing new material.
That's weird.
It's very strange.
That's weird.
It captured my imagination instantly. I was just like, holy shit, this is very tasteless.
Yeah.
Like, I'm assuming that Wayne Static's estate said it was fine. But the mask seriously looks like it's got Wayne's nose. Wayne had a very distinct nose. And it's like strapped onto this guy's face. It's really, really weird.
That's creepy.
He sounds like Wayne Static and he's stuck his hair up exactly like him. And they're going about their touring and they've released this new single. The single was a Static X song. I think it might have been unreleased material.
Right.
I have no idea if it was brand new or if it's unreleased material. But
that's weird.
Immediately I was like, holy shit, I'm thinking about Static X again after so many years. I'm going to recommend that Eamon listen to Wisconsin Death Trip.
Okay.
The first album. It's significantly dirtier and heavy in a way that kind of like... They've always been heavy because they're like somewhere in that weird negative space between industrial metal and new metal. They somehow bridge the gap between new metal and industrial metal. So like, I think you're going to absolutely despise how it isn't anything close to the industrial metal that you like Ministry and stuff like that.
Okay.
But you can tell that there's aspirations there.
Right,
But I think for a real industrial metal fan, they fall flat enough that it would just make you angry to listen to it.
Okay.
So this is probably the most challenging one I'm going to give you yet to actually enjoy because I haven't listened to Wisconsin Death Trip in years. I imagine it's shite now. I remember loving it. I remember really liking it, but I imagine it's intolerable now.
Okay.
So good luck.
Oh, thanks. Okay. So, what'll I pick you? All right, well, I said at the start when I was talking about Purple Mountains, I might give you a bit of Americana.
Okay.
Americana's a sort of strange term in some ways because all it basically is you know, what you would have had in America is you would have had what they would call cowpunk. Which is sort of country and western flavoured punk, and then it would have become alternate country, and then it would have become Americana. So it's sort of now in terms of what I like, I quite like the punkier end of it. So I will give you Meat Puppets, their album, Meat Puppets 2. So it's their second album.
Okay.
If you're listening on Spotify, I think the first 12 songs are the original album, and then I think 13 to 19 are sort of B-sides that were on the CD, so you can sort of...
Right.
You don't really need to listen to those lads, but the first 12 are great.
Okay.
I really like this. It's sort of punky, country western, sort of murder ballady type stuff.
Right.
I think what this album was best known for is that 3 of the songs on this end up on the Nirvana MTV album.
Okay.
And people might like that version of it, but in my opinion, I'm not a great fan of that Nirvana album. I think it's sort of... When Nirvana are great, you want to hear them really rocking.
Yeah, it's a bit toothless.
It's a little toothless for me. It's a good album, but it's a little sort of coffee table.
Yeah.
You know, it's Nirvana for the mums, you know. So I always had a problem with that Nirvana MTV Unplugged album because of what it did to these 3 songs.
Right.
Because it's Nirvana, those songs will forever be associated with Kurt singing them. Whereas these are just 3 fucking great songs on this album.
Yeah.
And it's really nasty, shreddy punk, very 80s. And I just think it's great. It's sort of rollicking and exciting. And I think you might like it. I think there's enough sort of interesting stuff going on in terms of the narration of the songs that I think it's worth a listen. So, and it's not my usual sort of thing that I would recommend. Usually I'm more, you know, rhythmically orientated, but this is great. Meat Puppets 2.
Cool.
I would highly recommend it.
That's been another episode of BoKcast, a music podcast. Thanks for joining us. I hope you give all these songs, these singles a listen. Give Model 500 a go. Maybe give Queen and Camera a go. You don't have to though.
Yeah, it's alright.
And
don't bother with Chance the Rapper.
Go and listen. In fact, I'm going to link in the description the video that guy made of the Chance the Rapper I Love My Wife remix. I'll link that because that's better and funnier than the entirety of The Big Day. Have at it, enjoy some music, and maybe chat in the comments. I know yous won't because yous never do, but Rio Kata, thanks for chatting it up in the comments. We always welcome it. We always enjoy it. So, goodbye.
Bye.